Hello, Illustrator fans. Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to part one of a four-part series on translating concept sketches to vector artwork using Adobe Illustrator. Today, we're going to take a look at the pencil tool, installing custom brushes, and applying said brushes to your paths in Illustrator. The pencil tool is located over here on the left hand side of the toolbar. First time you open it up, double click on the icon to open up the options dialog. What you want to pay attention to in here is this fidelity slider up here at the top. Set all the way to the left, it will record your movements accurately with any start, stops, jerks, sideways motion included in your paths. Over here on all the way to the right on smooth, Illustrator will smooth out your movements for you as it's drawing your paths. Just getting started, I would suggest the 3/4 to the right method. Definitely make sure you leave keep selected, and you do want to close paths if drawing shapes is your intention. I'm going to hit OK. Now I have my pencil tool selected. This is a freehand drawing situation, so click and drag will get you into a path. If you want to adjust curvature, direction, whatever's happening here after you let go and can see your path, all you have to do is start on the path, adjust to your liking, finish on the path again. Illustrator will adjust that path for you. All right, very nice, very handy. Okay, moving on. So best practice when you are drawing with a pencil is to deselect before you move on to drawing your next shape. The keyboard command or shortcut for accessing temporarily the last tool you had hold of is to hold down Control or Command on the keyboard. You'll see when I do that, my pointer changes to the black solid arrow, which is the selection tool. I can then use that tool while I'm still holding down Control or Command. So I can click on the artboard. That will deselect my path. And you'll see when I let go of Control Command, I am back on the pencil tool and ready to draw my next path. Please keep in mind as we are working through the entirety of all four of these demos, when I talk about paths, yes, you are seeing the visual attributes of the stroke weight, any brushes that you may have applied, but for the purposes of performing transformations, cutting things up, dividing using Shape Builder, Pathfinder, whatever that case may be, even readjusting with the pencil tool itself, we are talking about the actual spine of the path where the anchor points live, not the visual areas that we are actually looking at on screen. All right, I'm going to get rid of this stuff. If you haven't been out to Jason Seacrest's website, he has a lot of free tutorials and resources posted, including a couple sets of free brushes. Jason does a lot of really great cartoon character work and has some fantastic Illustrator tutorials. You can get access to his free brushes just by putting in your email and getting signed up on his newsletter. he'll mail you a link to a folder that is just chock full of resources. I don't know Jason, but he kills it, and he has a really good set of free brushes available. All right, once you have those downloaded, let's look at installing them. What you want to do is go to the Window drop-down, Brush Libraries, almost all the way at the bottom. Go to Other Libraries, and then navigate to the file that you downloaded. Once you have that selected, you're going to go ahead and click on Open. I am not going to do that because I already have these brushes installed. Once you open these up, you should be looking at a palette something like this. First time open, go ahead and pull the palette down so you can see everything that's in here. You can adjust a little bit of the brush here at the top for sizing. And first time you open these, you want to hit the palette options menu, the hamburger drop down in the upper right hand corner, and make sure that you check on persistent, that it is marked with a check mark. What that will do for you, and I'm going to go ahead and dock this in with my brushes. What that will do for you is whenever you open Illustrator the next time, if you go to your brushes panel, in the bottom left-hand corner is the libraries that are available. If you're not aware, there are a lot of custom brush libraries that come loaded with Illustrator. By checking that persistent button, it will keep those inking brushes right here underneath the preloaded brushes, and you can just click on that to have access to those brushes. All right, how these work. Let me get another path drawn here on my artboard. Just going to go to the selection tool. You just click to apply the brush. It will apply to any paths that you have selected. That would also include the strokes of shapes. By default, whenever you apply a custom brush, Illustrator is going to set the stroke weight to 1. If I really crank this up here, you can actually see what the stroke of this brush looks like. It has a really nice thin to thick variant where it is thin on the ends, thick in the middle. What we are going to be looking at as we go through here is turning these paths more into something usable and actually taking them all the way to the point where they are no longer paths but shapes. Before you turn a path into a shape, you want to make sure that you have the point size adjusted to your liking. And also, paths in Illustrator hold the direction of the original way that you drew them. So while there is another brush in here that would be thin here at the beginning and thick here at the end, with paths you can change that path direction by going to Object Path Reverse Path Direction, and that will reverse the flow of the brush based on the direction of the path. That is useful. Once we have all of our path and stroke brush adjustments made to our liking, for the majority of the methods that we're going to be looking at the very, very end, we're going to be turning these paths into shapes by going to Object, Path, Outline, Stroke. And you'll see when I click on this, you will no longer see the path as the middle of the spine within our stroke, but you will see that we actually have a shape here. If I switch over to my direct selection tool, now you can see that I have path on both sides of this stroke, all the anchor points, and this actually right now, as indicated by the fact that I can change the fill color is now a shape. All right, please hop into part 2 directly and get started translating your sketches to vector artwork and have fun.